Hi, it's Godfrey. I'm back again. A quick one today. I got an inbox message from a young person who says he's a member of the ANC Youth League. He was asking me if it's possible for one to be disillusioned with the direction of a party and still remain loyal to its vision and mission. And if it's also possible for that person who's disillusioned at a particular time to play a catalytic role in future in the changing of the direction of the party. And my answer is yes, it is possible, and there are two examples that I will share. The first one, there is a gentleman in China, Deng Xiaoping, who was part of the leadership collective under Chairman Mao, starting a long time ago, in the 60s and the 70s, during the reign of Chairman Mao. The interesting thing about Deng is that in the late 50s, 60s, and early 70s, he became disillusioned with the leadership of Chairman Mao and some of the major programs that he was pursuing for China. You would remember that China in the 60s or late 50s, 60s, and 70s, it had the Great Leap Forward, it had the anti-right campaign, and later on the Cultural Revolution, which was pursued by the wife of Chairman Mao and others. Going back to Deng was very frustrated with the direction because he believed that what the party was focusing on was not in the interest of China. It was not going to help China develop into a superpower or a state that is taken serious by the rest of the world and it takes care of its people. He participated. In fact, he was made a leader of the anti-right campaign. He participated even though he was not happy. He participated, and later on there were suspicions that he was not committed enough. In fact, he was purged during the Cultural Revolution. For many years, he was sidelined, sent to the rural areas to work there as part of his punishment because those days you were either summarily killed or dismissed from the party, and if you are lucky enough, you won't be dismissed from the party, but you will be sent to rural areas for hard labor as part of your rehabilitation. He was sent out to be rehabilitated. He came back in 1976 after the death of Chairman Mao, and after rehabilitation he was made a leader in 1978. And if you know the history of China, after 1978 there was a policy adopted called the opening, which enabled China to grow, to experience unprecedented growth, which we see today. So yes, he never left the party. He remained disillusioned as he was. He remained, and when he became leader, he was able to reverse course and turn the country around to the China that we know today. So it can be done. And the second one, and which is closer to home, you would recall that at the SACP conference in 1984, which took place in Russia, a resolution was taken that the Congress movement, the ANC, SACP, and components of the alliance must focus on the seizure of power. That was a strong push because many comrades were convinced that the Mozambique model of liberating the country was the only viable model. People like Thabo Mbeki were not convinced that it was the only way. They were open to engagement with the apartheid government. In fact, with the support of Oliver Tambo, from that period, 1985 and 1986, there were approaches happening to engage the then apartheid government, and many comrades were not happy. In fact, if you read the historical documents of the ANC, you would see that around 1986, when people discovered that there were these clandestine engagements with the apartheid government, people felt that it was wrong, it shouldn't have happened. And they were angry at Thabo Mbeki, but nothing much they could do because Oliver Tambo supported the process. And interestingly, is that even though Thabo Mbeki was convinced that the movement needed to seriously look at the option of a negotiated settlement, he continued to participate in the SACP's program. He participated in the ANC program, which was preparing for the seizure of power. In fact, he is among the authors of the Path to Power documents, which were prepared for the 1989 SACP conference in Cuba. Thabo Mbeki even chaired some of the sessions at the conference, and the conference was leaning towards the seizure of power option, and he participated in all of that while knowing, or in fact I can even go to an extent of saying he was convinced at the time that the solution of South Africa will be found through a negotiated settlement, and he was to be proven correct. So yes, after giving these two examples, the answer is yes. You can be disillusioned and still work on convincing the organization that there are other ways of doing things. And then if you are lucky enough and you get a little bit of power, you can actually steer the ship away from the path of destruction and allow for a direction which will lead to unity, development, and growth. That's my answer. Thank you very much.